video here of the chunker, just to give anybody a heads up on when they're building something similar. So from before the last video, I've done some upgrading, had a break twice, I think, or a couple times here anyways. So I've kind of sturdied things up here a bit, and it seems to be doing a lot better. It seems to be chunking a lot better. I don't feel like it's going to be breaking, hopefully, if with moderate use. So this plate here, originally I just had two struts up, just holding the side of this plate down here, or reinforcing this side of the plate so that when it flexes, that wasn't substantial enough. So what I ended up doing is I had some 4x4 box, I think it's 3/16 or an eighth, and I actually cut them to fit underneath, so they sit right. It worked out nicely that this is all reinforced in here, which really adds a lot of stability to it. It doesn't want to flex as much anymore. I did have, I think probably when in the earlier video there, when I broke those struts, I actually had this weld here break. So that's telling me that this whole thing was trying to flex like this. So I obviously re-welded that. I did change up the cutting blade here. And I also, sorry, before I get to that, I reinforced this part here, because this stuff here is pretty high carbon steel. It doesn't like to, it likes to break if you weld it because of the heat and whatnot. Anyways, so I added these gussets here, which I think will help give it a bit of stability, a little bit added reinforcement. Let me just, I upgraded the blade here to 1/2 inch 14-inch diameter pipe. I went with 14-inch because that's the diameter of that propane tank, and I already had everything kind of made. So I didn't need a gusset here. Seems to be pretty stable, not flexing at all that I'm seeing. Also with a 1/2 inch back plate too. Kind of important you have a nice big heavy back plate here, because when you the forces are going to be this way towards the anvil, so this has to be quite sturdy, but then also this here, because it's pushing back against here. And what happened on the other plate was up here, this part's fine because it's all reinforced with this cam arm, but here it actually bent in, and I made it so that this actually lined up with the finishing cutting edge, or finishing cutting motion. At the time I felt that was where the most significant force would be. Not really sure. It would make sense that it had the most friction. I don't know, but it seems to be working okay. Little chute here, nice. I gotta make this a little better, but I can hang my bags off here and everything just falls down. So with this blade, I ended up just welding a plate in here. This is another piece of the 14-inch diameter pipe. Actually, it's the part where I cut out here, and just a piece of it. And it's actually, has the same contour as the pipe. So when it comes down, these two pieces don't quite meet. They rub a little bit, and it acts like a pair of scissors. And I found that what I did is I ground that side, and then I ground this side. And it's nice because if you're cutting flat pieces, like say 1x6 or 2x6 or something like that, they'll have a tendency to want, when they start to go, they'll want to tip up like this, and then you only have an inch, and you're cutting 6 inches of wood and over an inch of space here. So that's pretty hard on the chunker. So it's better to cut it on the flat. What this does is it actually, when the chunker blade starts to push, it actually pushes it into the side of this this, let's call it a scissor, the side of the scissor, and it won't. It gives it some resistance for it to not want to flip up on you. Same thing with rounds, not so much because they're obviously round, so you're not really worried, about that too much. But just with the dimensional lumber and whatnot. So what I did, I did this twice because what happened is I made this too tight in here, and the machine still, I had made this and I hadn't reinforced it as well as I have now, and it actually flexed, this wheel flexed up and went on the other side, so it came up on this lip here because, as you can see, I ground this all off, so the lip, this anvil actually came up on this side and sheared this off. I didn't have it welded on as much as I do now, but that was a bad thing. That was a significant bad. It was not good. It was not good. So I left myself a gap here, which you can see. But then just at the end here, so I almost have, I almost have 3/16 quarter of an inch here of a nice gap. But then at the bottom, I've actually just welded in, MIG welded and ground off. So it's nice and tight here. That's where your stringers are going to be. That's where, if you don't have that tight, it's going to want to, give you shit hanging off your wood chunks like this. And it's not want to cut properly. So that has to be nice and tight. But this upper part, it's more just a guide, and that seems to be working well. What else? On the other video I was watching it again a few times, and you'll see the strut breaks. But if you look over here, this angle here actually flexes a bit. You'll see a bit of dirt kind of will poof, and it kind of poofs off. There's a significant amount of force that basically this gearbox wants to twist like this, because it's pushing this way. So if your wheel ain't gonna flex and the plate's not gonna flex, it's gonna transmit all that energy into the actual gearbox. I haven't seen any movement want to go this way. I think maybe due to the counterbalance of the flywheel, and simply because you got bolts here kind of in line. So this flexion isn't really a problem if it's mounted properly. However, this flexion can be kind of a lot more hazardous. You got to make sure these bolts are tight. I talked a bit on the these were loose, and that's when these bolts kind of wiggled loose. That's when I had problems with this. It wasn't the plate that was flexing, it was this whole gearbox that kind of would shift every time it would cut, and that's what allowed it enough room to kind of come and shear this off. So make sure we got tight bolts, maybe some Loctite. I haven't done that. And then another guy was, I think Wes was saying maybe inserts that, because this is just box tubing, it's hollow, so when you really crank them down, it kind of deforms the metal and whatnot. So inserts that would make that solid would be a good thing. I may end up, this, I seen it flex. However, this part here, I seen it flex, but if I wanted to fix that, I might bring a piece down and kind of reinforce that. But that's just I just wanted to let you know. Make sure your flexion points are going to be this rotating back. So this whole frame has to be well reinforced because it's going to want to push that way. Your anvil surface here, but also your cutting wheel with the plate, and then this part here. I mean, so your stress factor is more of a if you were going to draw the vector, it would be more like a diagonal, because it's not all this way. It's forcing it this way, but also downward too. So this plate likes to flex too, which boxing it in is a good way to get rid of any flexion. Yeah, it's kind of cold out here right now. and the video's getting long enough that you guys seen it chunked before, so I'm not gonna chunk it. I just thought I would throw this video up here, and for anybody who's going to be building one and doesn't want to go through the growing pains. Bye for now.